All right, all right, all right. Good evening, everybody. It is Tuesday. It's Tuesday. It is I think y'all gotta forgive me. I think it's the 4th of April. Where's the time going? It's going so fast. It is April 4th, and I am glad that you are here for the Real Money Coach Show, our live show. This is Financial Literacy Month. We're kicking off Financial Literacy Month. Please put in the chat where you are watching from. We already have Kimberly McQuinn, who did a wonderful job on our TRMC masterclass last night, talking about insurance. We got Brad Hudson from Belmont, North Carolina is in the house, and I see other people are there. Y'all ain't saying anything yet, but I see that you are there. Let me know where you're watching from. I'm so pleased and so just very thankful. Let me just say that first of all. I was talking to someone today in Tampa, Florida, and I had no idea that they ever watched the show, or I knew they watched the show every once in a while. And they were giving me a rundown of people who've been on the show and what they said. And I was like, there's people watching. And that's pretty awesome, pretty amazing to me. And I'm just very, very thankful that you guys, the Janice Rainmaker says, find it not robbery to be with us tonight, to spend your time with us on a Tuesday evening as we talk about what I think are very important and pertinent topics as it relates to finances and financial literacy and business development. And I tell you what, we got some more great stuff that is coming that you want to be a part of and you want to be tuned in. Tonight, we're going to be doing something a little different. Tonight, I actually sent out a email late this evening and said, hey, listen, if you've been in the Real Money Coach class and you would like to come on to the show and share what your experience was like, text me. And I got 3 texts this evening when I sent that email out, not even 2 hours ago, right? An hour and a half ago. And so we have 3 people that are going to join us and share their experience. Alice Martin, thank you for being here. Alice Martin, let's bring our co-host on. Let's bring our co-host on because Alice came out to the, where were we at?
Meet and greet.
Optimus Hall at Meet and Greet. And yeah. Alice Martin came. Alice, thank you so much for coming out, meeting Michelle. Michelle, yeah. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Tony. I'm doing good.
You doing good? Yeah. Did you enjoy your time here in the Queen City?
Man, I just feel like that's where I'm supposed to be. So, yeah, I really enjoyed myself. And we didn't even do much other than, tape a radio show and do a meet and greet.
Yeah, we didn't do a whole lot. But it's just when the 4 of us get together, it's always a good time.
Oh yeah, always.
I got a chance to play a little golf, and so I'm taking bids for who wants to give me golf lessons out there.
You up in your game?
Yeah. I figured, hey, listen, I got some people that know how to hit that ball pretty good.
That's right.
Give me a little lesson or something, Yeah. If I'm gonna go with my boy Tony Mitchell, I got to step my game up a little bit. So
right.
That's on the radar. That's on the radar.
Alice, it was great to meet you in person. And y'all were so amazing. I was walking past the entrance and she was walking in and, I'm just walking and she was like, Michelle. And I can't see your faces, so I have no idea what y'all look like.
Right. It's a little different when we do this.
That was
you. And Alice is sweet as she want to be.
Yes.
And, because it is a little different because everybody can see us in this format, but we can't see their faces. Right. It's a little different than Zoom and that type of thing. So, but it was a good experience. I'm glad that she came out and you got a chance to meet Alice. And we did do quite a bit though. I mean, because you landed on Wednesday and came straight to the radio station. So what was that? Tell me a little bit about what was that experience like?
Well, that was interesting because I had just landed. Like y'all, we got up at 4 o'clock in the morning so we could catch that flight. But landed in Charlotte and coming to the radio show, not knowing really what to expect. And Tony and I have such a chemistry and such a history that we can pretty much talk about anything at any time. So he was just like, I'm just gonna ask you some questions. I'm like, okay. So that was pretty cool. So
Yeah, I think it, and you shared some stuff
yeah.
in terms of what financial literacy, what it means to you, that type of thing.
Yeah.
And then I noticed that you've put quite a bit out in terms of financial literacy on social media
Yes.
in the first couple days of the month. So
Yep.
would you like to share some of that with us?
Yeah, there's several things that we're doing been gearing up for several months for Financial Literacy Month. And I want to give people information that they can use that will impact their business that is for free. So I am pouring my heart out on different platforms this month, being guests on different podcasts. We're also running Make Cash Flow, which is a resources for you to build your business so that you can generate more revenue in your business. And I'm teaching about, we have our CEO dashboard that we're giving away. So all of these things are free. So Make Cash Flow will be streaming across. So you can sign up. It's totally free. All the resources that are available. I've collaborated with 9 other entrepreneurs who are experts in their spaces. So from operational systems to PR to taxes to I think we have some digital marketing resources. So we have a lot of different things that can help business owners, and they're all for free. So
And
please
that's
take advantage.
really awesome. Just
Yeah.
bringing resources, people.
Yeah.
And I know I got an email today. I got to tell them my resource that I'm giving away.
Yes.
And
Yes. And
so,
that's coming at the end of Financial Literacy Month is our private podcast that I have interviewed I have a squad,
yep.
which is my advisory board. And I've interviewed all of them to ask them the question about how to bridge the gap in knowledge when things aren't working in a business and how their expertise can help. So I'm really excited about that coming out towards the end of the month. So
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
yeah,
A lot of great things.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's the thing that I went to today. I don't know many of you are familiar with John Hope Bryant, but John Hope Bryant is the creator of Operation Hope. Mm-hmm. Operation Hope is a nonprofit. It started when, and I don't even remember, Michelle, were we in college when the whole Rodney King thing happened out in LA? I can't remember what year it was. Charles, one of our guests tonight, he probably will remember when that happened because he's out in California. But when Rodney King, that whole beating happened and everything, and the officers were acquitted and you had riots and all this, that's when John Hope Bryant started Operation Hope. And they have done just a marvelous job in the area of financial literacy, financial wellness in the marketplace. They have bought more, they own more homes than I think any other Black organization, and they're based out of Atlanta. Well, his organization, again, is one, I've been on a couple panels with John. So they made a big announcement of a partnership with the city of Charlotte.
Oh, nice.
And so I went to the press release. I got an invitation to the press release, had my little media credentials. So I sat on the second row. And this is what they announced. And I've kind of been following this program It is called 1 million 1MBB. So 1 million Black businesses.
Okay.
That's their goal by 2030.
Wow.
Is to help create and scale 100 or 1 million Black
1
businesses.
million. Okay.
And so Charlotte's one of the cities, Atlanta, Memphis, New York, and such. And so thank you all. Brad put in 1992 was Rodney King. So we were actually out of college. So
we were out of college. Yeah.
We were out.
We were right out of college. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't remember. Dr. Benita Harris said hello from Dr. B and Ruth Bell. So I'm glad that they're here. And I heard a couple people having some trouble logging on. So if you can't get it through Facebook or YouTube, LinkedIn, we're there. One of the things, Michelle, you came by the radio station, and I just thought about this a few minutes ago, is that my show comes on Praise 100.9.
Yes.
Which that station has been nominated for the radio station of the year for Stellar Awards.
Oh, for the Stellar Awards.
For the Stellar Awards.
Nice.
And so I want to encourage everybody to go to thestellarawards.com and vote for Praise 100.9. Vote for Praise 100.9. So it's the radio station of the year for large market. They've been nominated before, but we really are prayerful, and we're going to push it over the top. We want to bring home. We want to bring home the Stellar Award for large market in gospel radio. So
nice.
I did want to mention that as well. So y'all make sure you get on. Now their system supposedly will only let you vote once.
Right.
So everybody gets a vote, and if Praise 100 gets enough votes, then they will be one of the finalists at the Stellar Awards, and then we'll see who wins. So just wanted to mention that, and so make sure that you go and vote, and hopefully we'll be able to get them to get a commercial on my show, also promoting it. So, that's a lot.
Yes,
that's a lot. And just to, it's so interesting. It's been like a little time, and I haven't been really doing a whole lot of speaking. And then today I just got hit, Michelle. I got, Nashville coming up. I got Baltimore, and then Ivan contacted me about 2 other speaking engagements. And so it's going to be a busy summer, but it's going to be pretty fun.
Nice. Yes, it is going to be a busy summer. So,
yeah. So we got some travel plans for our family and our team. And so I'm looking forward to that as well.
Yeah.
So, Michelle, what I've been doing for the last 7 weeks is we've had our financial literacy course. And so we used to do this in churches primarily, right? We were going from churches, and we were doing, 6-7 week courses. And then when COVID happened, we kind of shifted, kind of shut down. And then we finished one course on Zoom, and that was pretty much it. And we started doing some other things. And so I said, it's time for us to kind of get back engaged in financial literacy. And so what I did is we put together a 7-week program. So for 2023, we started out, I did 7 weeks of my iPad Your Money masterclass. And then we did 7 weeks of TRMC University, financial psychology, savings, budgeting, loans and debt, credit. And then we did taxes, insurance, and then next week we're going to do investing. But here's what I'm so proud of. I didn't teach those classes. So there were members of my team that were leading those classes. And I'll tell you what, they did an excellent job. And so I want to give a shout out to them. That was Valerie Rhodes that did the budgeting. I did the first one, financial psychology, but Valerie Rose did budgeting. Vixen Powell from Tampa Bay or Parmello, Florida, she did the loans and debt. And then we had Byron Pratt did credit. What else am I? Then we had Timothy Day do the taxes. He did the taxes class. And we had Kimberly McGinn do the insurance. And so they've all just done a really wonderful job. And so what I want to do tonight is, because it is Financial Literacy Month, it is the kickoff. What I did was I kind of asked, for some volunteers of people who've gone through the class, if they wouldn't mind coming and sharing their experience. Mm-hmm. And so I have 3 people that agreed to do that. And so that's what we're going to do. And we are going to start with Charles. Charles, we're going to bring Charles on the stage. Charles, how are you doing, sir? You're muted, my friend.
I said I'm doing well. How are you?
Oh, we're doing great. We're doing great. Charles, I just want to thank you, man, for just being a part of the class. And I know that you're quite a presenter in your own right. But tell the people a little bit about you and, maybe where you live, a little bit about Charles.
I live in California. I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio, so I'm still an Ohioan. My background is in finance. I'm also a corporate trainer. In 1980, or actually going back to 1972, I started my insurance career as a debit salesperson collecting weekly premium insurance. Later on in the 80s, I got my Series 7 license as a stockbroker, as the first Black stockbroker in Cleveland, Ohio. So going through your class was more of a refresher course, if you will. But for me, it was real interesting to see, as you went through the different subjects, with the people who were attending the class, a lot of the things they didn't know that I would have thought that people in some of those age brackets would have known. But it really goes back to something that Dr. Frazier said, is that in too many Black households, we never had that over the kitchen table conversation about finances.
Absolutely.
And that's why you had so many people who are, as I said, in older ages who didn't know a lot of the things that were covered in those classes so far. So it was refreshing for me to see the expertise of the people who were leading the classes and the patience they had with some of the questions that were asked.
Well, it's interesting because I did not know that was your background. I did not know that you were from the financial world, and hats off to you, man, because I know how even now sometimes being African American in this space can be tough. It can be tough at times. And so I certainly appreciate you being a trailblazer there. And I didn't know. So,
let me take you back to my first insurance experience. Was when I was told to go for an interview, and I went to the interview, and then found out later that the person who interviewed me told the person who referred me, "Don't ever send another N-word into his office."
Wow.
And about what year was that, Charles?
That was 72.
1972. And so, and that just kind of just makes it so. I think about, I don't know if you know William Picard. You may know William, he was in Cleveland and that area, but in that same era that you were there, he was with the Urban League. But just the it was, I don't know if it was more, was it more like in your face in terms of that type of racism and that type of thing, do you think, compared to what we might see now?
Well, I'll use a quote from my dad. My dad said the difference at that time between a Southern white man and a Northern white man is that a Southern white man will tell you what you can't do, and a Northern white man will let you think you're getting somewhere. When you get ready to go through the door, I'll tell you you can't.
Mm,
So the racism was there, but it was a lot more subtle.
got it. Got it. So again, you felt like it was kind of a surprise, and that, when you said that you were surprised at some of the questions and maybe some things that people didn't know, really emphasizes our point of why we need to do it.
Oh, without a
And
doubt.
yeah, so I kind of wanted you to kind of speak a little bit on that. Now, by the way, you guys, y'all, if you ever been on my show, you know how I roll. I don't do no pre-questions. We just we this is all unrehearsed, right? This is you getting the real deal. You're getting it 100. So Charles, tell me why, in your opinion, why is financial literacy number one? You were surprised, but why do you think it's so important?
I think it's so important so that younger generations, and that's why I ordered a copy of your book and getting my granddaughter involved, so the younger generations learn quicker and from better backgrounds or better information sources than we had.
Well, and then it's interesting you mentioned your granddaughter, because so often when we're telling our kids this stuff, and I think Michelle can attest to that. At first, they're like, that's mom or that's dad. We kind of blow it off as we don't know what we're talking about, or it's just mom and dad talking again, and then it comes full circle, doesn't it, Michelle?
It does.
Without a doubt.
Yes.
So that's pretty awesome that you're willing to, in our kind of pouring into your granddaughter.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, when I first brought it up to my granddaughter, her dad, who actually sat in on a couple of the GWA meetings, acknowledged the fact that a lot of information that's coming out now he wasn't exposed to. Even with my background, he wasn't exposed to some of those things.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I think that's for us too, right? I mean,
yeah, because they don't pay attention.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So and then you don't. So often we can't give what we don't have, right? So many of our people, I know, like for me growing up, I mean, people thought that we were rich because my parents built a house, and we moved outside of the city, and et cetera, had a little bit of land, and people thought that meant they had money. But my parents were just hardworking people. They didn't know anything about investing or any of that type of thing. They just worked hard and provided for their family.
Well, when you look at that, Tony, in 1980, when I got involved with Merrill Lynch, and the person who recruited me, and this is almost a direct quote of what he said, because he and I spent a lot of time at a place called Houlihan's Old Place, which was a pub in Cleveland. And he approached me by saying, I see you in here a lot. You're usually the only Black person in here. You get along well with everyone. We need to hire someone. Merrill Lynch is being pushed to hire minorities. I got involved with the training class, but being involved with that training class, the other two people who went through that training with me, one of them's father had a seat on the Chicago Mercantile. The other was a Jewish lady whose parents did a lot of stock trading. I had no financial background experience from that standpoint. My dad was a hard worker, but he was not in tune with that type of information or knowledge.
Absolutely. So Charles, I got to ask you this because I'm curious. The push on your shirt, PUSH. I see that there. There's got to be a meaning behind that. So I can't let you off without asking what does that mean?
The push is for my son David, who is a real estate coach, and that's his business, and it stands for prospect until success happens.
Prospecting.
Nice.
That's good. Because if we don't prospect, we're not gonna have anybody to serve, right?
Right.
Absolutely. So Charles, as our time with you kind of closes down here, what advice would you give anyone who's listening? By the way, you all, we're going to be starting. We have one more week of this current cohort of classes, and then we're going to be starting on April 20th with another round of iPad Your Money, the book masterclass for 7 weeks. So, but anyway, so Charles, before you exit, what advice would you give people listening tonight?
To people listening tonight, I would say, look at all the resources you have, whether they are through what you offer, Tony, or what they can get on YouTube, or what they can get from a library. There was something I saw recently that if you find someone who has a big screen larger than their personal library, that's not the person you want to follow.
Right.
My wife's in the other room right now. She'll tell you readers make leaders. She's a book person, and so am I.
Yep. Yes. So that's what they said. You know, the bigger the library, the more the wealth. The bigger the television, the less wealth. So, well, I certainly appreciate you, Charles. I appreciate your support. I get to see you a couple times a week. I get to see you in my class that you come to, and then I get to see you on GWA, which you all, that's the Generational Wealth Alliance that meets every Tuesday at 7 p.m. So thank you, Charles. Thank you for being willing to come on and just share your experience.
You're quite welcome. Look forward to doing it again.
All right. So hang out in the green room. And so Michelle, there it is. I mean, that's a great example.
It is.
And I like the fact that, with Charles being, one of the senior members in our class, maybe, and I just had no idea about his financial background, and so to hear him talk about that, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that is. That's amazing.
So listen, I have another person that's going to come on.
Okay.
And this person, her name is Janelle. And I think Janelle is in Statesville. I think she's in the Charlotte area. Let me put it that way. And so she's been participating in the class. I think she may have been, we'll ask her when she comes on. She may have also been in the book class. I'm not sure. Janelle, I'm looking in the back. I don't see if she's there. There we go. All right, let's bring Janelle on the stage with us, please. There you are.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I am great. How are you all doing?
Good. Janelle, you got to help me. You got to clean that up for me. You live in...
The one and only Queen City, Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay, you're in Charlotte. Okay.
No,
I know you were in the 704, but I couldn't quite remember.
Absolutely.
I couldn't quite remember. So
that's okay.
Well, now, were you in part of the iPad masterclass as well?
Absolutely.
Okay. So before we get into all that, tell the audience a little bit about yourself, what you'd like them to know about Janelle.
So I'm number one, I'm a Charlotte native, so not Statesville, a proud Charlotte native. And I'm a Christian. I love Charlotte. I love God. I love people. I love spreading the love of Christ to everyone. Let's see here. What else? I love doing things related to advocating for people who are underserved populations, especially when it comes to people experiencing homelessness, displacement, women, minorities, people experiencing food insecurities, as well as veterans. Let's see here. I first came into contact with Mr. Tony Jackson a couple years ago. My mom and I did the WINS program. And then most recently, I got in touch with got involved with the iPad, this particular program that he was mentioning, by way of a graduation for Commissioner Leak's GWE program, the Global Wealth Exchange Program. And that's where I was made aware of it. And then I believe I got an email from you. I'm not certain.
Probably.
Yeah, I got an email and finally took action and executed on that. Was so happy to get the free book, so happy to be in this program that's also free, because financial literacy is something that is so important for everyone, especially within the Black community. So I am just so grateful, so blessed to have had the experience to be in this program.
All right. Now, here's the thing. I want to back up because you talked about wins. Now, were you a part of the wins that we were doing at the Park Church?
Correct. So I was a part of that program.
Okay.
And from there, my mom and I did a 101 session. Well, I guess it would have been a 201 because she and I did it together.
See, and so what happened was we had started the WINS program, and we actually had started, it was like in the fall or winter, excuse me, of 2020. So we had done about 3 sessions, I think, and then everything was shut down because of the COVID.
Right.
And so you stuck with us. I mean, and then so tell us a little bit about, you were part of Commissioner Leaks Global.
Yes. So I was a graduate of the Get Up and Grow program. That's a partnership between Mecklenburg County and Central Piedmont Community College. And shortly after that, I did the Global Wealth Exchange program. But because there were only 3 of us in that particular cohort, they actually had us to graduate later. So they actually, what's the word? They delayed our graduation for the next cohort. But it was a wonderful experience. And I did that on account of me wanting to do global work, on account of me being the real estate moderator at the time for University Park with the, what was it called? 400, something 400.
R400.
What was it?
R400.
R400. There you go. Yes. Where we were working to establish the independent site as a hub for different things between here and Africa. And so within that program, I was the moderator for the real estate the real estate group. And there we were actually planning on 1, taking a trip over to Africa, then 2, doing some affordable housing projects. And then also within that group, I mentioned the fact that within Africa, a lot of the natural resources reside there, but they have to be exported for processing and then imported for the final state of the products. And that it would be amazing if we could do something where we actually help the residents, the locals, to be able to process those natural resources there. And so we were actually brainstorming about doing that as well. And like you said, because of COVID, everything got shut down. And that also was the year of the, I believe it was called the Great Return for Ghana as well.
Yeah. And that's an interesting point that you bring up, because you think about all the natural resources there. So they harvest the natural resources from the continent, ship them to somewhere else, and then the continent has to buy those things back.
Right.
That's an interesting, really phenomenon there to kind of like, okay, how do we change that situation? So awesome.
Absolutely.
So tell me a little bit about how you felt about the iPad Your Money Masterclass, and then we'll get into this last one.
Absolutely. So I absolutely love that course. And I've got a background. I've got my Series 7, 63, 65.
I didn't know that.
Wow.
People. I had no idea. Okay.
I mean, I don't put it out there like that. If people need to know, I let them know. But just I'm big on being a servant leader, just letting someone see me. I'm not big into titles, big into just putting all this stuff out there. But yeah, I do. I have that. I've also taken a lot. I've got my life and health insurance licenses as well. But we always need refreshers. And one of the things that I really, really liked, well, number one, when my mom and I met with you, your spirit, you were very kind, you were a believer, and you were someone genuine. And I like to interact with genuine people. So when I did the iPad course, it was that all over again. Just a beautiful spirit, someone generous. Again, it was free. And this is something that people pay a lot of money for. And for you to not only offer us your course for free, to offer a book to us for free. And then I remember when I ordered the book, you sent the book out so quickly too. So it was a blessing. I remember getting it like within 2 or 3 days after I ordered it. So that was amazing. So, and just, I'm a student that's very engaging. So I like to ask a lot of questions, and some teachers don't, or instructors don't receive that well. That was not the case with you. And so of course I love that. And then on top of it, I deal with executive function challenges where sometimes I forget, to follow up on things. One thing that I noticed that I loved as well, as the course went on, I remember giving feedback one time where I had missed a course and I said, oh my gosh, I forgot about it. It wasn't on my calendar. I noticed as the course went on, there began some text reminders. So that was beautiful because I felt like the feedback was received well and it was constructive criticism. And on account of that, I was able to participate in more classes. So you are a very inclusive instructor. And I really appreciate that, because a lot of times when people experience invisible disabilities, sometimes they're misunderstood. And that's been my experience over the years. And so I'm grateful for you being very inclusive. And I'm receiving that constructive criticism and taking action in a way that was different, that allowed me to feel more welcome in this course as well.
Awesome.
Nice.
Well, thank you so much for the kind words. So the TRMC class, you know, the master class we just had, you're one of those people that will ask questions and be vocal, and I think that interaction makes the class just that much better. So any comments about that particular class, and you know, the different instructors, how it was kind of formatted? Any thoughts?
Well, so for me, and of course everyone's different, I preferred yours because of the fact I felt like, well, one, I did only take one class, so I have to say that. So I think I was busy going back and forth traveling to Atlanta, Georgia for supportive housing thing. So I'd gone to Atlanta 4 times within 3 weeks, and I just now got back from Philadelphia yesterday. So I've been very busy. On account of that, I have not taken as many of those courses, but I did feel that the feedback that I did provide, I don't know if it was received as well. And I felt like with the one course that I did take, that it was more, I feel like you were a little bit more open-minded. I'll just put it that way.
Okay. Well, and you know, some of that, you know, comes from, you know, just having been doing it for so long.
And that's what I thought.
Yeah. So absolutely. Well, I do appreciate you being part of the class, and hopefully you continue to, you know, participate in the things that we're doing. And you know, we got to figure out how to put those licenses, all them licenses you got to work.
Right.
I didn't know all that, Michelle. I didn't know all
Yes.
that. Look, these people sitting around with all these securities licenses.
I know.
Look at what God is doing. God
I know.
will bring all the people to the table. So
Well,
Yes.
have to meet for sure. And I actually posted an acclamation for you and your company on Instagram. So I did that on the Faithful Homes LLC account because your
Nice.
course is absolutely wonderful, and you are a true gem, and we need more people to be able to hear exactly what you're doing and the material that you're providing. And I hope and pray that it continues to be free of charge, or at least, you know, at a nominal fee, because we definitely want to bless you, but we want to get this information out to the community, because you definitely go over and beyond and even give a lot of background information. So it's been a blessing. So kudos to you and your entire team for all that they're doing.
thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate it. Hang out with us, and if you can, and we're going to keep moving on. We got one more person, Michelle.
All right.
Yeah, one more person is going to come on, and So Latricia is going to be joining us here in just a few moments. It's just good to see people get stuff out of the classes. You know, when you do something and
I know. It's good to get feedback.
It is good to get the feedback.
Yeah.
And it's good to know that you are doing something that people value and appreciate. All right.
And you're making an impact.
So, and that's what we're doing. We're doing that together. We're doing that. I do that in every way that we can. So
yeah, me too.
Let's see. Next we have Latricia. Latricia is from the great state of Mississippi, where my mama and daddy and them from. Latricia, how you doing?
I'm doing fine, Tony. How are you?
Good. I see you all on your laptop. You got your library in the background. Everything's looking good.
Oh yeah, this was a struggle trying to get everything together. It was a struggle.
All right, well, you got it.
I'm here.
So why don't you tell the people a little bit about you and your background and that type of thing?
Well, not much to tell. I'm kind of, I don't believe in. I should toot my horn more, but I don't. So I am a native of Clinton, Mississippi, which is a suburb outside of Jackson, Mississippi. I attended the great University of Jackson State University, where I have a degree in mathematics and I have an accounting degree, a master's in accounting.
Michelle is smiling.
But you don't use it, you lose it. So of course. So
it's
now,
still there. It's still there.
Okay, well,
and not take education away.
That's true.
Debits and credits, they stay the same. They don't change.
That's right.
You have to use it. So Michelle, if you feel free to reach out to me, I'm game on learning something new. So yeah.
Okay.
And that's one of the things about me. I do enjoy learning. I enjoy learning, new and exciting things. And that's pretty much it about me in a nutshell.
Now you work you work in accounting with the federal government, though, right?
So I'm a budget analyst, and so I'm not really doing accounting work. I deal with money, but not necessarily accounting.
Yeah,
or what I would consider to be accounting.
Well, budget analyst. I mean, that's in the. That's we accept that. That's
we accept that, right.
I don't really do accounting either, but I'm an accountant, right? So we get down looking at some numbers on an illustration or something. We can go there, right? So
right.
So and I know if I remember correctly. Well, tell us how did you connect with the Real Money Coach? How did that? I don't even know.
Okay, so I'm not even sure. I know how we connected, but I'm not sure how I connect with the connector. So I think I met you through Dr. George Frazier in the GWA group.
Okay.
So I think that's how I came across you. Now I'm trying to figure out how I came across Dr. Frazier, and I'm not really sure. I just know he had one of these conferences and you were a part of it, one of these virtual conferences. Ain't God good, boy. I mean, some good things came out of COVID, because otherwise, I don't think I ever would have connected with you. So had it not been for virtual and for technology, I wouldn't have gotten a chance to meet some of the people I got a chance to meet if it hadn't been for this technology, that actually just blew up during COVID. So, even though, there were a lot of tragedies, there were some very good things that came out of COVID, and this technology blow up was one of them.
So you probably were involved in either the 2020 or 2021 PNC conference, virtual conference then. And then
maybe so. Yeah. Okay. And then I think you somehow got a hold. Well, no, I think during that conference you had where I could set up an appointment with you. And then I guess you just kept me on your mailing list. Then when you came out with your book, I was one of the first people to get your book, and you were offered it for free before you actually start advertising the course, I think. Mm-hmm. So I actually got my book before I actually signed up for the course. So
tell us what you thought about the book.
I think the book is great. I mean, some very thought-provoking information, things I think that we had not considered. I was listening to Charles earlier, and I think you asked the question about, something about finances. How did we learn about financial literacy and that thing? Most of us, we learned from our parents. But in my case, I think my mother was the main financial coach per se. But, she was, when she was in good health, she was very meticulous with her records, her financial records. She wrote everything down. She may not have the accounting degree, but she could account for every dime. And we would often laugh, like when we would go to the store. I remember this. If we went shopping, she would have already calculated in her head how much everything should be. And once she, paid for everything, they gave her receipt. If she reviewed her receipt, if they cheated her out of a penny, she was going back to get that penny. And we laugh about that to the day. I said, well, my mama, I said, she was going back and get her money. It didn't care how small, how big it was. She was going back and get that penny. She didn't care what. But that's how she was. She was just very meticulous about her records. That's just who she was. And if you owed her some money, she had it wrote down how much you owed her. And she kept record of when you paid. So, yeah, I got a lot of that from her. So, yeah, that's how we learned. And then I think, during our course, we talked about, insurance. You always talk about how GoFundMe is not insurance. And, we talked about how a lot of times our grandparents and parents, they paid for that policy with the little insurance person that came around every month to pay up on that policy and things of that nature. So that's how we really learned. And I don't know how we got from that. And, when they paid their policy, they had money to bury their loved ones. But, somehow we just, lost track. We just kind of got off track. Or we're more concerned about living and not really preparing for dying and just leaving family members in debt. So, it's just something to consider.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so, so we talked about insurance. We talked about a lot of things. So you're also one of the more vocal people in the class. And, again, I appreciate that because you need people that are going to talk and ask questions, that type of thing. So tell me what has been your favorite part of the master class?
Oh man, that's a tough one. I've enjoyed all of the pieces. I've learned a lot. I think one of the things I really like about the course is the interaction that we have among the members of the course. A lot of things that maybe I had not considered, and somebody would share their experience or they'll share what they're doing. Like, I remember we were talking about tithing. I don't know how we got on the subject of talking about tithing. And I had made the comment about, I was using this Givelify, and we were talking about, the percentage that they take out for the Givelify and all that stuff. And then somebody was like, well, I use Bill Pay to send my tithes. So I'm like, you know what? I hadn't even considered that. Let me set up my Bill Pay so my church can get all the money and we can cut out the middleman. So that was a lot, just, sharing, because I really hadn't thought about, using Bill Pay to pay my tithes or send it to the church, because it's very rarely I would write out a check. So that Bill Pay would kind of help with that. Now, most recently, one of my favorites was the course on credit.
Okay.
Mr. Byron Pratt he just threw me out the window with some of the information that he provided. And I think one of the things that he, stated was, he said, we have a due date on our credit card bills or when we owe a creditor. He said, but we need to stop trying to pay by the due date and pay by the reporting date. Mm-hmm. I'm like, say what? Reporting date? What is that? And he explained what reporting date was. A lot of us have no earthly idea what the reporting date is. And then, also he was saying, let's try to stay out that grace period. There's really not such thing as a grace period. So those were things, that I really, really brought to mind. And then one of the things that he really talked about for disciplined people, which I am not right now, because I'm juggling too many books. He was saying that, you can make your credit work for you in terms of generating income. And that just blew my mind. You know, he was talking about the cashback cards, and he was talking about how very rarely do he use his cash to pay for even just, you know, basic utilities. He uses credit cards to pay for that. And then he goes back and then pay the credit card off the end of the month and then generate income off the top of that. I was like, wow, I hadn't even thought.
Because of the rewards program,
Right.
and cash and all that.
Right.
And
Yeah.
again, I think that is important, that you do have to be disciplined so you don't run that credit up.
Right.
And, you know, I enjoy that too, part where he's when he was talking about, he said that if you pay your credit card bill by the due date, that keeps you in good standing with the credit card company.
Right.
But if you pay it by the reporting date, that keeps you in good standing with the credit bureaus.
Mm-hmm.
And just that distinction. And so,
Right.
So you have you've really kind of done things full circle. I know you've done some things personally to kind of move yourself forward towards your goals. I don't know if you want to share any of that, but you know, I'm certainly have been proud of, you know, some of the things that you've done and what you are doing as well.
We gonna wait till the we're gonna announce that later, Tony. But I'm working.
You work it.
That's we're gonna
awesome.
announce that later.
So let me ask you this: as we close down, any advice you'd give someone listening that may be thinking about, reading a book, or maybe thinking about taking some financial literacy classes, or even, seeking out more financial knowledge in whatever way? What advice would you give them?
Okay, so that's a loaded question, but I will say this. I think this course is phenomenal, and I really wish I had this knowledge back when I was in my earlier years. So now that I'm at the age that I am now, I could really be financially secure and do more of what I would like to do. So I would most definitely encourage, people my age, and of course, those who are younger than me, to take this course and get started now, so they get to be my age. Maybe they can kind of sit back and kick up their heels and travel a little bit more. So yes, I would most definitely recommend, for anyone, but of course, younger people, to go ahead and prepare. I apologize, it's my little coworker there. Prepare early, and just building that financial wealth, because it really comes in handy when you get older, especially in my case when I'm a caregiver. So again, I apologize for that.
No, he just got to get his 2 cents in there. So
yes, at the most inopportune time. but he is like a little regulator, so he kind of keeps me on my toes with my mama and helping me to make sure she's okay. So I don't know if she done disappeared or something, and he's barking and letting me know that. So I apologize again.
Well, no problem. You go see about money. And thank you so much for coming in on last minute and sharing your experience.
But before I go, Tony, I want to thank you, and I want to thank you, Michelle, for allowing me to come on and speak. And Tony, like I said, you just don't know. You and some of the speakers that you have invited have given just invaluable information. And I just be sitting there in awe every week about things that I learned that I didn't know, and I wish I had known, earlier. So, we really do appreciate you and all that you're doing. And like Janelle said, and it's free. And you can't be free.
Right.
So,
while it is.
Yeah, and we really do appreciate. Yeah, we really do appreciate you. So thank you. The fact that you're trying to help us become more educated and build more financial wealth. We really appreciate you. I don't know too many people who would do that. So we really do appreciate you and your time. I don't know how you do it and how, you carve out the time, but we really do appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right, y'all. Well, I think, Michelle, we've come to the conclusion of another show.
That's right.
It's kind of good. It's kind of interesting getting people's perspective.
It is. Yes, it is. It's good to get feedback, and people hear information, but sometimes they don't take the time to internalize it so that it'll have an impact on them. And
Mhm.
all three of these guests you had today have done that, and they appreciate what you're doing. So that's awesome.
Well, and I didn't know they all had these finance
I know,
backgrounds.
right?
I
They
knew
all
I
have
knew
a
the
finance
Patricia had
background,
accounting background, mathematics and accounting. So I knew
right?
Latricia had, but I didn't know Janelle, and I didn't know that Charles had that
Yeah,
background. And even he was one of the debit agents, right?
yeah, yeah.
And so that's just
So
interesting
that
to me.
to me, that says a lot about you and your expertise. Because even though sometimes people don't listen to other people that's in the same field because they already know it.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? But they took the time to listen because it's a different perspective,
Right.
So
And that's what's nice about too,
yeah,
having the other instructors that have been coming on, because they
mhm,
bring a different perspective.
right, exactly.
And what I like about the classes, that when we've done them and doing them with Zoom, is
Mhm,
that you can get people who are participating and
right.
hear their voice and hear
Yeah,
their ideas that can help other people. And so that makes that interaction, I think, is why we can continue to even sometimes go over similar topics, in
mhm,
different cohorts, and have another whole different lesson to it
yeah,
because of the
mhm,
interaction of the class, and you got new
that's
people in and all those types of things. So,
mhm, I agree.
well, Michelle, thank you for what you're doing in this area of the vineyard in terms of financial literacy with business owners. And you're going on 2-year anniversary with the Real Money Coach. Yeah,
I know.
yeah, pretty soon. I got to look back through the records and see when that first one was, but
I
I'm
don't
pretty
know.
sure it was probably somewhere around May or June
Okay,
of 2021 is when you
okay.
started co-hosting with me, and
Yeah, I was
here
just
we
a
are.
sub. I was just a sub at first.
What you saw it first?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think you were
because
something.
Marlon's son had track.
Head track. That's what it was. Well,
Yeah,
that's what happens. I mean, you
I
sub,
know.
and you get hooked in.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
well, thanks everyone for watching. Be looking out for your email as we are announcing the iPad Your Money Masterclass that's going to be on Thursdays. We will certainly keep you abreast of that and what's going on and what time and how to register and all that good stuff. And I see put some things in the private chat. You might want to check them
Oh,
out.
did she?
There. Congratulations and all that good stuff. So, folks, thank you for tuning in,
You.
and have a wonderful, wonderful Easter. Celebrate the resurrection of our Lord and Savior. And we're out. Thank you so much. Have a great one.
Have a good night.